Alright, so what is up guys, it's Chili here with a Minecraft challenge video. So today I'm going to be beating the Ender Dragon, but with a twist. I've cranked up the speed to max, so now I have to run at insane speeds. This has a few benefits, but it also has plenty of downsides. Anyways, enough with the explaining, strap yourselves in for the ride, on with the video. Okay, so attempt number 1. This was my first attempt, so I wasn't exactly sure how this challenge was going to pan out. With all these attempts, I used a random seed, which I'll put in the description for you all to check out. Anyways, this was my first challenge, and after half an hour I hadn't gotten anywhere, so it already wasn't going well. While I was mining in a cave, I accidentally opened a hole to the surface, which a creeper jumped down while I was in my inventory and blew me up. Off to a great start. I knew I wouldn't get this first try, so I was mostly just testing the waters. Still, dying was no less painful, and I hope I don't have to deal with it again. I jinxed it, and actually spent more time setting up this world than I actually did anything. Third time's the charm. This time the challenge was going pretty well. After not dying within the first hour, things were looking up for me. It didn't take me too long to get to the nether, but that was where my luck ended. I should have known that as soon as things were looking up for me, I would screw myself over, but alas. I didn't crouch and launched myself into a completely separate biome. Honestly, I'm surprised I didn't stop there, but something told me that the fourth time's the charm, so I made a new world. At this point, I already spent 3 hours playing and had a basic idea of what I was doing. I knew that I would launch straight to the fabric of reality if I didn't crouch, so a lot of the time I would spend crouching. After brutally punching some trees with my bare fist, I ran around looking for a nice place to start a mine shaft and maybe set up a small base for the challenge. I found a ravine pretty quickly, hoping to find some lava, but there was none in it. I still saw some iron in the bottom though, so I broke the number 1 rule of Minecraft and dug straight down. Oddly enough, I didn't explode immediately while doing this, but I did get the iron and coal, which was useful to quickly get iron tools. During all this, it had gotten dark though, so after collecting all the ores in the ravine, I made a shelter into the side of the ravine. This would double as both a shelter and a mine, which was fine since I didn't need it to be pretty, I just needed it to work. I spent the rest of the night expanding it, which was pretty uneventful. In the morning, I emerged from my drug den and explored the area a bit. I really didn't end up doing anything except for killing some sheep, which would be useful in the long run for both food and beds. After cooking up the sheep, I explored some nearby caves and collected some iron and coal. I was at a bit of a crossroads here. I needed lava to get to the nether, which I could get 2 different ways. I could dig around underground, which could give me useful resources, or I could sprint around looking for it, which would be a gamble since I may or may not find any. It was starting to get dark, so I decided that night I would spend searching for diamonds and lava. At this point, I'm going to ask you to believe me on something. I logged off that night, and the next morning I logged back on to keep going on the challenge. I never hit record and didn't quite realize until half an hour later. I have a screenshot of the diamond I found because I got super excited and took one, but sadly never recorded it. So when you see me sitting on some obsidian with some water I placed over it and a diamond pickaxe, you're just going to have to believe me on it. Anyways, I found a cave and some lava, which I covered with water so the lava beneath wouldn't get me on fire or destroy any mined obsidian. After gathering all the obsidian necessary to make a portal, I went up to the surface, made a portal, lit it, and jumped to the other dimension. When I arrived in the nether, I immediately dug into the side of the mountain and started burrowing in one direction, hopefully to another fortress. This was unnecessary since I could have walked to the fortress, but after emerging from my crappy tunnel, I noticed the fortress and knew I was in business. I ended up killing a few blazes and got 5 blaze rods, which I hoped would be enough. It wasn't, but I didn't know that yet, so I really didn't help myself there. I headed back to the ravine and dropped off some junk I wouldn't be needing. I spent the rest of the night hunting for ender pearls and got 2 of them, which was alright, but could definitely be improved upon. That morning I figured it was time to find a stronghold so I could get a sense of how many ender pearls I would still need. During this journey, I decided to uncrouch to speed things up, and I think it speaks for itself. When I found the stronghold, it was in an interesting location to say the least. It was under a zombie village that had a pillager outpost in the middle of it, not to mention the stronghold underneath. After burrowing for a bit, I found the stronghold and popped out right next to the portal, which means I didn't have to waste time looking for that, not that I was going for a speed record, because I quite clearly was not. After searching the area a bit for ender pearls with not a lot of luck, I realized I would still need another blaze rod, not to mention that I need a lot of pearls. I began heading back to the ravine because I knew what had to be done. After getting some quality sleep, I headed back to hell to get some more blaze rods. I killed a few blazes and head back to the portal, hoping that I wouldn't need to come back. Of course, I jinxed it because not even 10 minutes later I realized I would need ender pearls and there was no way I was getting enough staying around doing nothing. So I headed back to hell one last time. When I got back to the nether, the harsh hot air hit my blocky face. I was back, but I really didn't want to be. I was looking for the work forest. They're full of endermen, or one of the better biomes of the nether. I hadn't seen one of them around yet, so I dug straight into the mountain, hoping I would find something on the other side. I dug all over, straight across, up, down, no matter what, I couldn't seem to find my way out of the mountain, let alone the Warp Forest. Eventually I came into a much more dangerous biome, the Basalt Delta. This wasn't what I was looking for and I couldn't see any Warp Forest in the distance, so I headed in the opposite direction looking for the Promised Land, the Warp Forest. When I broke my way through the last blocks blocking my path to the Warp Forest, I was overjoyed. It was like the heavens were smiling upon me. I could see the Endermen and there wasn't lava everywhere. I say this is where my luck finally began to turn. I killed Endermen and got plenty of Ender Pearls. At one point I almost got overwhelmed, but luckily I was able to kill him first. Finally I just needed to get back to the portal. After searching, I couldn't find the entrance of my previous tunnel, so I just dug a new one towards the coordinates of my portal. Finally, I left the Nether for good and could take on the Ender Dragon herself. After leaving the Nether, I spent the next day gathering resources. I need to be prepared for this fight since I'm not really good at the game. I gathered plenty of cobblestone and beds, and set out that afternoon back to the stronghold finally to beat the Ender Dragon. I got lost on the way, but eventually found it and headed back down the tunnel. Placed all the eyes ender and the loud crackle of thunder shook the room as I jumped in. The fight began with the dragon's roar and I pillared up to the island to confront her. I blew up the cage towers and started shooting the others. It was a glorious battle until I began pillaring up a tower I couldn't shoot. I destroyed the tower and instead of ender pearling down, the dragon knocked me off. I desperately threw an ender pearl to try and get to the ground before dying, but was too late. My loot scattered across the battlefield and the haunting image of the death screen popped up. It looked like it was the end, except for the fact that I made a backup before the fight because I wasn't going to restart that easily. Second time's the charm. Well, the third time's actually a charm. I sort of messed up. Wait, please stop! It was a dark hour. I thought I failed the challenge, and to be fair, it had several times. I logged off that night with a heavy heart, realizing I might have to accept defeat. But then that morning, I logged on eager to finish this fight. I pillared up to the cage towers, taking them out and shot some of the other towers. I was hitting most of my shots. I had several bed explosions dealing loads of damage. It was a complete underdog story, rising from the ashes. It looks like I was going to be victorious. Near the end, the dragon spent less time on the ground and more time in the air healing. The Endermen started to attack me in hordes. The dragon swooped in and out, surrounded by Endermen. I set off an explosion, leaving the dragon near death. On fire and being swarmed by Endermen, I took a final stand. In perhaps the most daring strike, I took out the Ender Dragon right before her escape while surrounded by Endermen. Near death, I watched the dragon burst into a million pieces and sweet experience began falling everywhere. I sat in a pool of water trying to get my health back, realizing what I had done. I had beaten the game while insanely fast. I took out the final Enderman and jumped into the portal as the credits roll. If you have enjoyed the video, please do make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It'll be very appreciated. If you made it to the end of the video, comment I'm speed and I'll know you made it all the way to the end. Make sure to have a fantastic day and I'll see you all in the next video.